And just before I move the amendment, just to state that Minister O'Brien will close the second part of this debate, and it's a busy department. The three ministers share duties, and I think that's common, and I'm sure the deputies will accept that. I move amendment number 1 to delete all words after that Dáil Éireann notes that and substitute the following. Acknowledging that there remain challenges to overcome 1 year on from its publication, Housing for All, a new housing plan for Ireland is delivering, through increased housing supply, a range of affordable purchase and rental measures, new initiatives to tackle homelessness and ongoing long-term reforms of the housing and planning systems. Housing supply is increasing despite such unprecedented challenges arising from the war in Ukraine, the energy crisis, increasing interest rates and supply chain issues. In the past 12 months to the end of June 2022, almost 25,500 homes were completed. In the 12 months to the end of September 2022, almost 27,500 were commenced. Last year, 9,183 social homes were provided. The Government's target of 24,600 new build homes for this year is on track to be met, and all activity is completely focused on meeting the targets in subsequent years. This increase in supply will be key to meeting demand, moderating price inflation and addressing affordability for those who wish to rent or buy their own home. And the Government has made the delivery of new homes social and affordable and private its priority through the development of resourcing and implementation of Housing for All. In the regard, the Government's immediate focus has been on delivering homes for households in the lowest income brackets and for those facing an affordability challenge, with historic levels of investment in excess of €20 billion through the Exchequer, the Land Development Agency and the Housing Finance Agency over the next 5 years. Over 300,000 new homes will be built by the end of 2030, including a projected 90,000 social homes, 36,000 affordable purchase homes and 18,000 cost rental homes. Acknowledging the recent increase in the number of households in emergency accommodation through concerted efforts by government agencies, local authorities and NGOs, the Government continues to address the housing needs of those households and those at risk of becoming homelessness through a wide range of support programmes, including the proposed introduction of temporary stay on tenancy terminations, increased funding for void units, reinstating delegated sanction to allow local authorities to pursue appropriate acquisitions, and modifications to the repair and leasing scheme to open more opportunities to include conversion of commercial units to residential. Ireland has signed the Lisbon Declaration on the European Platform on Combating Homelessness, committing to working towards the ending of homelessness by 2030 and agreeing to promote the prevention of homelessness, access to permanent housing and the provision of enabling support services to those who are homeless. The National Homeless Action Committee has been established. This cross-government interagency and stakeholder committee, which is chaired by Minister O'Brien, ensures the continued coherence and coordination of homeless-related services, policies and actions. The new Housing First National Implementation Plan has also been published and expands Housing First targets, with over 1,300 new Housing First tenancies to be introduced over the next 5 years. In addition, a Housing First National Office was established in March in the Housing Agency to drive implementation of a National Director for the programme has been appointed. With regard to the delivery of social housing, over 23,300 households had their housing needs met in 2021. This is despite a very significant impact of COVID-19 pandemic had on delivery, noting that most residential construction was halted for a 13-week period from January to April. The 2021 summary of social housing assessments showed that there were 59,247 households assessed as being qualified for and in need of social housing support, a 4.3% decrease on social housing waiting lists in 2020 and a 35.3% decrease in social housing waiting lists since 2016, when the first annual assessment was conducted. The latest construction status report, Q2 of 22, shows 8,247 social homes on site, with an additional 12,327 homes at design and tender stage and 118 new construction schemes, 1,647 homes added to the pipeline. In total, the construction status report provides details on 27,006 new build social homes across 1,566 schemes. Notwithstanding the strong delivery pipeline, Minister O'Brien continues to emphasise the urgency of maximising delivery, and the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage is working closely with local authorities and AHBs to secure additional projects to deliver in the short term. With regard to the delivery of affordable homes, the Affordable Housing Act of 2021 and the LDA Agency Act of 2021 Act, both enacted in July 2021, are two important foundations that will enable the delivery of affordable housing on the scale required. Taking into account that 2022 will be the first year of affordable housing delivery, affordable housing schemes have been stood down in 2011. The first affordable cost rental homes are now beginning to come onto the market, advertised at rates that are 40 to 50% lower than market rent. These cost rental homes are designed to assist households currently facing affordability pressures in the private rental market and targets middle-income households with households' net annual income of less than €53,000. Homes are now being made available under the Local Authority Affordable Purchase Scheme, and the nationally available First Home Shared Equity Scheme supports first-time buyers purchasing new constructed homes being made available for the sale into the private market. In addition, a new Local Authority home loan has been introduced for those on modest low incomes who cannot get sufficient funding from commercial banks to purchase or build a home, and the Help to Buy scheme, which has been significant support for first-time buyers, has been extended to the end of 2024. The LDA has an immediate focus on managing the state's own lands to develop new homes, the majority of which will be social and affordable. The transfer of state lands to the LDA with potential to produce 15,000 homes is underway. The LDA has also launched Project Tusig to accelerate delivery of 5,000 homes on non-state lands where planning permission has already been granted but not yet activated. In addition, the Government has launched the Croí Cónaithe Cities Fund to address the current viability challenges and activate a housing supply at density in city centres through the delivery of 5,000 apartments for owner-occupiers. Good progress has been made in advancing the vacancy-related actions under Housing for All, including the publication of a Town Centres First approach earlier this year, which provides a coordinated whole-of-government policy framework to proactively address the decline in the health of towns across Ireland and support measures to regenerate and revitalise them. The establishment of a vacancy unit within the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage, led at principal officer level, to drive the implementation of the Department's vacancy-related housing actions under Housing for All, the move to a full-time vacant homes officer in all local authorities, dedicated support to local authorities and approved housing bodies via the Housing Agency across a number of programmes, and specifically in relation to the CPO programme, and working with partners to unlock the potential to utilise heritage buildings for residential uses. Reform of the Fair Deal scheme to remove disincentives for sale or renting of vacant properties, planning regulations that exempt certain vacant commercial properties from requiring planning permission to change use for residential purposes have been extended to 2025. The successful launch of the Croí Cónaithe Towns Fund for vacant property refurbishment grants and the Ready to Build grant. The planned introduction of a vacant homes tax in 2023. Notwithstanding the responsibility of each Chief Executive for the staffing and organisational arrangements necessary for the carrying out their functions as housing authorities, the Minister for Housing, Local Government and Heritage has sanctioned over 200 posts associated with delivery of their social housing build programmes, with additional posts being sanctioned for affordable housing delivery. Furthermore, this Government is also implementing a suite of measures to facilitate increased residential construction activity and put housing system on a sustainable footing through, inter alia, the Attorney-General-led comprehensive review of planning legislation, and a new process for large-scale residential developments over 100+ units has been introduced to bring supply forward quicker. Legislation introducing residential zoned land tax commencing in 2024 following publication of maps showing land in scope, coupled with legislation being developed to introduce land value sharing and urban development zones. These reforms will help activate vacant land zoned for service housing, reduce land hoarding that drives up land value and cost of housing, and to ensure greater community gain from land value increases. Community gain will be secured through a proportion of the uplift in land values for the provision of infrastructure to support development and, where appropriate, social and affordable housing. Legislative underpinning to a new requirement that residential houses be ring-fenced for individual buyers, almost 16,000 units restricted to single purchases or social and affordable housing by mid-May as a result of restrictions on permissions, with legislative provisions for this owner-occupier guarantee incorporated in housing strategies and development plans going forward. Measures to increase construction sector capacity, including greater investment to increase the availability of apprenticeship training, international recruitment initiatives, and the new Future Building Initiative spearhead activation and recruitment for the sector. A number of significant measures to accelerate research and innovation in the sector, including Enterprise Ireland New Build to Innovate Fund, a €5 million investment for the establishment of a new construction technology centre and new modern methods of construction demonstration park, which will focus on increasing specialised training capacity and allow us to build to better respond to skills gaps in this construction sector. While very significant global and external challenges have emerged since Housing for All was published in September 2021, the Government remains focused on achieving the targets set out therein. As committed to last year when Housing for All was launched, the Government is currently reviewing and updating the actions in the plan. The updated actions will be published in the coming weeks and will allow the Government to respond to these challenges and redouble focus on prioritising measures to activate and accelerate the delivery of housing supply.